Welcome back to the Money Pros. With us back on the roundtable are both of our pros, Jason Lee, Executive Vice President of Broker Service Marketing Group, and Lynn Riley, Attorney and Partner with Cameron & Middleman. And we're talking today about some of the decisions people face when purchasing life insurance. Jason, let me start off with you. One of the choices people have, if they've decided they're going to buy life insurance, is going online to buy. You can, go online to buy just about anything these days, and life insurance is no different. How do you feel about going online to buy insurance? Pluses, minuses, pros, cons. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, we mentioned earlier that you have to do research on your own to become educated, and the world has changed a lot. Everybody goes online for just about anything now, and this is no different. So getting educated and getting information out there is an important step, but they also, not everything on the internet is exactly as it is in the real world, so that's why it's also important to involve a financial professional that has life insurance experience and has that as part of their business and their practice to get advice on the different options. So I think it's a two-step process. Get educated, use all the resources that you can, talk to your family, talk to your friends, use the internet, and then engage a financial professional.
It's an interesting, follow-up to that. A lot of times people go online because they feel like it's going to save them money. In my experience, in looking at quotes online for particularly vanilla things like term insurance, rates aren't a whole lot different and sometimes even more expensive than what you might get from your local insurance agent. So,
there's a real easy reason for that. The easy reason is that there has to be an agent involved in the sale, much like when you go get a prescription, a doctor has to prescribe it. When you buy life insurance or you buy a house, you have to have an agent involved. So that price that the agent receives in commissions is included in the price of the product, no matter where you buy it.
So if you think you're cutting out the middleman and saving some money, that's not the reason to be going online to buy life insurance, because in all likelihood it's going to be just as expensive or more expensive. Lynn, let me turn to you. We were talking about beneficiaries in the earlier segment. You and I have sat in these meetings. You've sat and led many of them, but talking with people about structuring their estate plan, naming beneficiaries on trusts and wills, and obviously in life insurance. Do you find this is a difficult decision for people to make? Who am I going to leave this money to? How am I going to do it? What's your experience with that, and how do you guide clients? Can you give us some words of wisdom on how to think through the process?
Sure. You're absolutely right. It's difficult for many people because they don't understand their options, and oftentimes they haven't been advised why one option might be better for their situation than another. So a lot of times I do ask them to describe their situation. Is their spouse elderly? We wouldn't want the proceeds to go towards payment of an institutionalized care. Do they have any disabled children or minor children? Do they have a taxable estate? Perhaps an irrevocable life insurance trust would be better so that you can remove the insurance proceeds from your taxable estate. So we usually go through that process in deciding what would be the best primary and contingent beneficiaries in their particular situation.
Do you find a lot of clients have the reaction of, oh, I didn't know we could do that? Like they're not even aware, like you said, of what the options are, and once they find out there are ways to accomplish what they have in their head, that they feel better about the situation?
Absolutely, absolutely, especially because they're educated now and they feel like they have control over the process.
Now, Jason, I'm going to turn back to you because we've talked about cost of life insurance. And in a perfect world, in a financial plan, you'd do everything. You'd put money away for college, fully fund everybody. You'd put enough money away so you can live a comfortable retirement. You'd buy enough life insurance to replace your income at any point should you pass away and cover other obligations that you might have. But in reality, people are faced with choices. We have budgetary constraints. How would you suggest people weigh the purchase of life insurance and what that's going to mean in their budget versus money that they could put toward other financial obligations, for example, saving for retirement? I mean, how do we make that choice?
Yeah, I think the best answer I can give is that it can't be an all or nothing proposition. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And if you're saving towards retirement, taking some money each month, a small amount, $50 or $100, to keep your family protected in case something unexpected happens, I think is a reasonable proposition. If you have the means to spend more than that, you definitely want to consider the other options because they are more expensive, but you get more out of them on the life insurance side. So I don't think it's life insurance versus retirement. I think it's you have to deal with both issues. Every family situation is different, but you definitely don't want to go all retirement, no life insurance, all life insurance, no retirement, just like with college savings and any other financial objective you might have.
So your take would be to try to do a little bit of each thing rather than all of one thing and completely ignoring the other topics would be
Yep.
sort of your approach?
I think a lot of people try to rank things and prioritize, and I think that's all well and good, but you really have to look at it as an individual, family situation. How many kids do you have? Where are you in terms of your work? How reliant is the family on one wage earner versus two wage earners? And consider all those factors as you prioritize your different financial objectives.
Excellent. Now, Lynn, like so many things we talk about on the show, a lot of people have the idea that it's like, all right, I'm going to deal with this and then I'm never going to talk about it again. So whether it's structuring their investments or dealing with their life insurance, estate planning, their taxes. But the reality is, in the broad field of sort of financial planning, nothing's a one-shot deal. It's got to be an ongoing process. A big part of that is beneficiaries. We're talking about the difficulty in naming them, right? People go through, hopefully they went through some process to figure it out. But if they never look at it again, these beneficiaries can get outdated. What's good today might not work 5 or 10 years down the road. How often do you see outdated beneficiary designations? Like, what types of things do you see, and what do you recommend clients do to make sure it doesn't happen?
I find that it's more often the case that it's outdated, to be honest.
Then updated.
Been updated.
Okay.
And so anytime I sit down with the client to put a plan in place or to update an existing plan, I say, let's get a look at your existing beneficiary designation and see if it's consistent with your wishes. Did you name backup designations? Oftentimes, if your marital status changed because you lost a spouse or you're divorced, they forget to update the beneficiary designations.
That's a common one, right? The divorced spouse still is a beneficiary. And on a remarriage, you could have a second wife that you want the money to go to potentially, or second husband, and it's going to go to the ex, right?
It could potentially go to the ex, that's right. It's really a disaster waiting to happen. Also, with respect to you lose a child, you may want to, or any beneficiary designation that might have passed away. So you really need to update them regularly each time you update your plan. And it's important to understand that updating your will and updating your trust does not update your beneficiary designation.
Right.
Your beneficiary designation, what's on file with the insurance company, controls with respect to that policy, regardless of what your will or your trust might say, and people sometimes don't understand that.
So you've really got to review those policies, review the wills, trust, maybe even have a spreadsheet if you have a more complex financial situation so that you can review it all in one spot to get it updated when need be. Now, continuing the idea of beneficiaries, and Jason, I'm going to turn back to you, because all we've talked about up to this point with respect to beneficiaries on life insurance is you name a primary or primary beneficiaries, and you name contingents, and depending on how it falls out, those people are going to get a lump sum of money. Mm-hmm. But insurance companies are becoming more creative with the options. With about 45 seconds left, what are some of the things insurance companies are allowing purchasers to do with respect to structuring benefits for?
Yeah. So on the beneficiary side, you can actually structure the death benefit to pay an income stream over time, say 20 or 30 years, so that the family gets what they need, which is your income replaced, mm-hmm. instead of a big lump sum, a financial windfall, which can actually cause hardships and they're not sure what to do with it. So you have flexibility to design that. And then also while you're alive, you can actually get benefits, you can accelerate that death benefit while you're alive for your own use or your spouse's use for long-term care insurance and retirement. So the death benefit isn't any longer just about a single lump sum at death.
So a lot more complex options. I think we always make the point, this is why you've got to talk to an experienced financial advisor, but that just furthers it. A lot of complex options. You need somebody to help you walk through them, essentially. It can be tough to do that on the internet. For more information on the choices you face as you consider life insurance and estate planning, visit our website at foxprovidence.com and click on the Money Pros. When we return, we'll handle a viewer question on selecting investments in a 401k. So stay with us. There's more to come right here on the Money Pros.